didn't know I'd be making a routine video for anybody, even Tom, but anyway. So the first thing I do if I'm going to work on this kind of a thing is I just start where I'm comfortable like this, and this is comfortable for me. I don't have a big stretch or anything like that, and then I just lean towards one side, hang out, just breathe normal, and I'm not forcing anything right now, I'm just hanging out. No, I definitely don't hold it for 60 seconds or 30, usually it's around 15 or so. I just estimate it to where it feels like something let go, that kind of thing. So usually I do it 1 or 2 times like that. Right now I'm going to do it twice, just because I feel like it, I got time. Sometimes I'll put my hand here, arm back here, arm back here. Sometimes I'll just move back and forth just to keep things moving. Same thing on this side. Because I want movement, basically. And so, after I do that a couple of times, the next thing I do is the legs go out wider. However you want to do it. And then, do the same thing. Lean over, and of course now I got more tension. You'll also get tension here because your body doesn't really want to go over here. Then I'll lean over to try to get more of a stretch here. And of course I get a little bit more in the hamstring. Now in this position I sometimes roll, and I say sometimes because it's not the same all the time, it's similar. And then I go to the other side. The side's not cooperating as much, even though I did my better side first. Then after I do that a couple of times, I go wider. Now I can feel it. So here, the first thing I start doing is just rolling the hips forward. Got a big truck coming. After I roll it forward a little bit, see if I can go any wider. Most of the time I can. Then in this position I roll the hips again. Of course you can roll the hips sooner. But as soon as I roll it in like this, I can feel a little bit more here, but that's me. Everybody else might feel it somewhere else. Then repeat. Ooh. And besides this tightening up, sometimes the quad over here does the same thing on me, and I have to consciously let go so I can drop. And then in this position, and of course you can do it sooner if you want to, I'll kind of have my body kind of like a clock. So 12 o'clock's here, so after you hit here, which might be 10, then I might go to 11, hang out. 12, hang out. 1 or 2, hang out. 2:30 maybe. Then just repeat that a couple of times. I mean, I'll do the holding the stretches or do the stretches more than a couple of times. And then, you know, usually for me now, I can go ahead and plop back down in this position. But that's just because that's all abbreviated. And then you can make it harder by just leaning forward. You can make it harder, more of a strength thing. You know, you can throw a weight on you, something like that. So that's what I do now, because I can get there that quick. Now before, like last year when I was trying to get this back, you know, I did a whole lot of stuff leaning forward because you got to have lumbar flexion to do that too. And you can do flexion like that. You can do flexion like this. And I'm forcing it. I mean, I don't do that thing pull till it's comfortable, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm trying to get as far as I can. So it's not comfortable. And don't hold your breath. So sometimes I do this. Sometimes I do this just to loosen those things up. But again, most of the stuff that I do for this thing is just going in that direction. But that's me. And there's other stretches I do too. I mean, I don't often do it, but you know, it's kind of a long lunge stretch. At least that's what I call it. I come all the way down, so getting some movement in the hip on this side, front of the hip on this side, get more in the front of the hip here if I lean back and have more extension in my spine. You know, and so this one's a little tighter. Anyway, I used to do a stretch where you just go out straight out wide like this, and occasionally I still do, but not that often. So that's it in a nutshell, dude. So I thought I'd make some additional comments because I kind of thought the other video I made, which is the beginning of this, was a little flippant, but on the other hand, that could just be me at the time. But I was just thinking, well, you know, that's, you know, the other stuff is kind of what I do most of the time, all the time. But then there are other ways that you can make things a little bit easier. So, and when I say easy, it's not easy. You know, I mean, I'm trying to make it. I mean, it's going to be hard enough just to get out there, you know. But so essentially, if you have a hard time doing this, and then of course you're going to have a hard time leaning over too, then what you do is you put your butt up on a surface. And then it's going to make it a little bit easier to go there. So, you know, basically you just start where you can start. And you can get as wide as you want to on there too. So that would be the first thing if you can't do a whole lot. Well, let's put it this way. If you do this, it's much easier to lean forward than if you're on the floor leaning forward. It just depends on who you are, I guess. But anyway, then I had mentioned using a weight. So you can just take a plate, or you can use a bar or something. And when you come over, you know, you're going to get a lot more stretch. But it's also kind of like a good morning, you know, so I'm getting this a lot in the hips. So it's a strengthening exercise, but the weight's also shoving you down. Other thing. Now, the stuff I'm about to tell you, I don't do, but I probably should or could. But basically, when you get in this position, wherever you are, you can tighten your quads really tight, then let go. Yes, PNF crap. And then, you know, there's one thing you can tighten up the quads and let go, and some people are able to move a little bit better. The other thing you can do is kind of, you know, drive your heels into the ground and let go and see if that doesn't give you more, you know, more forward lean or whatever. All right, so covered that. You can do that, that split squat like this. You can, now, you're going to feel a little bit of a stretch in the groin. I mean, not, depends on how unflexible you are. But, and you might feel more on one side than the other. But according to the knees over toes guy, you want to try to go as far as you can so that you're covering your calf with as much of your hamstring as you can. And of course, this is, you know, basically a little bit easier just because it's elevated. The interesting thing about this, to me, personally, anecdotally, is I can do this, you know, and I feel it in the groin some. Now, if I tightened up my glute here and then let go, I automatically tend to drop more. So, you know, so I've been playing with that only the last week or two, so that's just something new for me. Um, Another thing you can do is, and again, this is with the abbreviated version of the split squat. You can, have kettlebells or dumbbells pulling you down, tighten the glute up again, which makes it harder to do, and then let go, and you'll tend to drop even more. I'm just playing with that crap there. Then you can play around with just doing the split squat. And, you can, if you come up on your heel or on your toes, then it's more of a balance thing. Anyway, just for me trying not to be flippant.